Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a recess.
The leaders of the Clark County School District being escorted out of the building by security as a meeting of the CCSD Board of Trustees comes to an abrupt end. Teachers protesting inside and out, demanding better pay.
The school district and the teachers union have been in those contentious negotiations for weeks now. Today, the district sent an email. They offered a 7% salary increase this year and a 1% raise next year. The union demands 10% salary raise in year one and 8% in year two.
Fox 5's Kim Passoff joins us live now outside of CCSD's building on Flamingo.
And that's where that meeting was called off tonight, Kim.
Yeah, that meeting was chaotic from beginning to end. After about an hour and a half of trying to get things going, the trustees voted unanimously to adjourn.
Excuse me, this is a business meeting and I'm not going to say it again.
The public meeting reached capacity and not everyone could get in. This is the district's online feed.
CCSD is a liar! Char is a liar! CCSD is a liar! Char is a liar!
Thank you.
The meeting was stopped. After a 20-minute break, they tried to start again.
Moving on to item 1.01, Trustee Brooks will be made.
As teachers and their supporters protested outside, trustees tried once more to hold the meeting inside.
No contract, no peace! No contract, no peace!
The audio for the public meeting was then turned off as trustees discussed what to do.
I'm going to ask officers to please clear the room.
Superintendent Dr. Jesus Jara was surrounded by police officers as he left the building. Members of CCEA waiting in the parking lot to express their frustration.
Licensed and leaving because of you, bro. All I want to do is teach.
Several of the teachers who did not get a chance to speak during the meeting shared their thoughts with Fox 5.
The cost of living is crazy right now. Inflation is out of control. Really, I have 2 jobs to survive.
Not being able to make rent and not being able to keep up with inflation, it puts stress so where our mind isn't dedicated to our kids, and that's where we want to be.
I've been here 20 years, and now newer teachers are making only $5,000 less than me. 20 years with a master's. That's rough.
If we don't have our wages, we don't have our teachers. I'm a brand new teacher, and I'm coming in, and all of my mentors are going to be retiring because they just can't take it anymore.
And negotiations between the union and the district are set to resume next week on Thursday and Friday. CCEA has set a deadline for agreement of August 26th. Reporting live tonight, Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
And the district sent Fox 5 a statement saying, in part, since we began negotiations, the leadership of CCEA has continued their bad faith efforts to bully the school district into accepting their financially questionable proposals that would put the district finances into a deficit. As stewards of the public trust and dollars, we cannot agree to put the district in financial jeopardy, which will ultimately hurt our students and adults. You can read the full statement on fox5vegas.com.